وسهلا ومرحبا بكم جميعا. A warm welcome to each and every one of you back to Hayat Tayyiba with myself, Shakirah. Before the break, we were chatting and looking at our reactions to the news coming out of Israel and Palestine. Subhanallah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to always make us an ummah that understands the power of our dua. Allahumma ameen ya rabbil alameen. Alhamdulillah, we move on to our next segment, and we are now looking at something quite important. Now, I want to ask you as a listener, take some time and see if you have ever thought any of these thoughts that I'm going to mention right now. The first one would be, any day now, they are going to realize what a mistake they made in hiring me. I bet they're already wondering. Or you could be, I don't know what I'm doing here. I have no idea what I am doing here. I'm at the wrong place. I'm not the person for this job. And subhanAllah, if this sounds like you're in a monologue, then you are most likely experiencing imposter syndrome. Now, many of us, these thoughts cross our minds. For some people, it's quite often. And what tends to happen is that these feelings of anxiety, insecurity, and dread always follow people around when they feel like they are not actually worth a seat at a particular table. Now, joining me today is Sister Shameela, who is an accomplished author and MBA graduate, a business coach and seasoned nurse. She brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to her endeavors. She's dedicated to helping others discover their purpose and navigate lives and business challenges as a mind hacker. Her diverse skill set and rich life experiences make her a dynamic and inspiring figure in both her personal and professional circles. Alhamdulillah, Sister Shameela, Jazakallah khair for joining us here on Hayat Tayyiba at Radio Islam International. We appreciate your time. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So, Shameela, before we go into the questions and discussing imposter syndrome, I want to ask you something very personal. So, when I look at your bio is very well spaced out and it's describing things in detail. I love it because when I give my bio to somebody, I also take the time to do the same, right? And sometimes it feels a bit like, well, I don't really need to tell them. I should just ease back a little bit. Don't actually be so loud. Don't actually take up space. And do you feel sometimes we as Muslims, firstly, and then Muslim women, do you feel we are scared to take up space and we find ourselves constantly not feeling worth those spaces that we are in?
You know what? You bring up a very pertinent point, and I have to tell you, when I actually drafted out that bio, I read it and I was like, exactly what you said. Like, do I need to put this all in here? I am just me after all. This is just me being me. And yes, definitely, we're speaking about imposter syndrome. So yes, definitely thoughts of, what, should I really be talking about this so loud? And as a Muslim, should I be like saying this aloud? Is it not gloating? And then I took a pause and I thought about it and I said, you know what? This is who I am, and this is what I've accomplished, alhamdulillah, through the help of Allah Ta'ala. And I've been blessed and have had the opportunity to upskill myself and to be exposed to different experiences and to have the opportunity to help others, especially with women. I felt like, you know what? Yes, this is something that I've accomplished. This is how far I've come in my life, and it is only through the grace of Allah Ta'ala. So I should not underestimate or, second guess myself. I think as women, specifically, because of the cultural norms that we face with and because of the stereotypes out there, regarding women and who they should be, how they should behave. If you get what I'm saying, it's natural for us to fall into this hamster wheel, if I can say it like that, because these thoughts come and go, but it's up to us to realize that yes, it is coming, but alhamdulillah, this is what I have to be grateful for. These are the opportunities I've been given, and celebrate even the smallest little accomplishments that you have all the time. I think that is specifically to remind yourself of your own capabilities, your own strengths, what Allah Ta'ala has given you to offer the world. So I think just being aware of that and giving yourself the time to just pause and feel that feeling, let the thought come, acknowledge it, but then let it go just as easily as you can. Try and let it go and work towards it. It's not something that is going to just disappear. It comes and goes through one's life, through one's career. You gave a superb example of questioning yourself for being successful in getting this top job or whatever. And definitely I could relate so much to that, because you feel like despite having all of this knowledge and you might have this degree or diploma or the skill set, there's still something in the back of our minds that eats at us and like, yeah, but surely they must know that I'm not so good in this, or what if they find out that I'm not, So I think it's something perfectly natural that one can go through, but the problem comes in when it sits with you and it stops you from living out your best life. When you're constantly just stuck in that one spot, because now you're faced with these feelings of poor self-esteem, of not being able to go forward, of just being paralyzed with this fear. And I think that's when it definitely becomes a problem, and you need to seek out a mentor, or to speak to someone, and so forth.
I think that it's so personal, because in our communities, especially subhanAllah, when it comes to somebody just giving you a compliment sometimes, we go out of our way to break ourselves down, and there is this fine line of humility. Allah loves that quality of humility, the fine line of actually getting pride in our lives, but also understanding that if Allah has given you a certain quality, that is His fadl, that is His grace. And so your duty is to actually use the favors that He has given you to benefit and to be aware of it, right? So there's this beautiful statement that when somebody tells you, you're really good at this, and you should say, "Hada min fadli Rabbi." This is totally the grace of Allah on me, and it makes you. Then you step out there a little bit, right? But I think we are so far from that point. We are just like, no, I'm not supposed to be here. So sometimes we go to nothing. We feel I'm supposed to be there. Why am I not getting a seat at that table? So let's now dive into actually an imposter syndrome itself. What is it? I'm sure you and I understand the meaning, but for our listeners out there, what happens when a person goes through imposter syndrome?
Okay, so it is like a psychological, it's like a pattern of thinking where a person will actually or constantly start to doubt themselves. What they've achieved, what they are capable of doing, what skills they have. Even though they might be proof, yes, you've got this degree, yes, you got this promotion. Externally, there's proof of you being capable and able to do all of these things, and yes, you've achieved, and all of that. But inside something inside you tells you, no, this is not for me. I don't deserve it. I really don't deserve it. I feel like I'm a fake. One of these days somebody's going to find out that I'm not as capable, that I do not have these skills. And it's just something that it's the continuous self-doubt, the self-questioning, that is, to come to the crux of it, that is what it is. It's the constant self-doubt and feeling that you are fake, and somebody's going to knock on your door and tell you that you are a fraud. That is what it is. And yeah. So
recently you shared a video where you gave some important tips and tricks when you are experiencing this. Can you share this with us?
Okay, G, I have. So I definitely will recommend, like I said to you, you need to recognize when you are coming, or when you have these thoughts floating through your mind. And you need to also accept that, it's not only you. There are many people that feel this way. So it's recognizing it, right? And then there are certain things that will trigger you. Like, for example, somebody gives you a compliment. That might be a trigger for you. And then go into that a little bit deeper. Figure out why. What is it when somebody gives you a compliment? Why do you second guess yourself? Where is it actually coming from? Now, it takes a little bit of soul searching. It's not something easy. But I feel like if you actually take note of these occurrences and maybe keep a little journal or something. When you write down your feelings and your thoughts, you start to see, you identify your triggers, right? And you'll be able to see a pattern coming out of there. And once you have that, then that puts you in the right spot to actually deal with it better. So, like I said, recognizing the feelings, and also what's more important is knowing the difference from what are the facts and what is your own perception. What is your feeling? That is something very important. A lot of the time we are in such a state where we take something that is actually the truth to be just a feeling, and vice versa. So sometimes you need somebody to sit you down and say, listen, these are the facts, and no, this is just your perception, this is just your feeling. Also, what I can say is, when you are goal setting, make sure that you are setting small, achievable goals for yourself. Don't now overextend and then you judge yourself badly because you didn't achieve that goal to the level that you wanted to. So be realistic with your goals. Set them as achievable according to what you think is achievable, how you can measure it, and don't base it on somebody else's opinion of you. A lot of the times what I realize is, or what I found with others as well, is that we compare ourselves to others. We compare other people's success to our success. We compare their progress to our progress. And that's not the right way to do it, because you don't know what that person has been through to get to where they are, or where where they are in their journey compared to where you are in your journey. You might be starting up and they might be slogging for I don't know how many years to get where they are. So that's something I would definitely mention also. And then, just talk about it. Yeah.
Yes. SubhanAllah. Sorry, I'm overlapping you there, but I just want to jump in a little bit. So earlier we were talking about, us women, and culturally we are more susceptible to this. You find that men generally can fill up a space, fill up a room, and they find it quite easy to do this, right? Recently we attended a beautiful convention. It was the parenting convention that was done at Kurtuba with the Radio Islamic International as well. And so while I was there, it was something quite fascinating hit me. I noticed that, say for example, a speaker was speaking, right? Then the speaker who would follow them would constantly refer to the speakers previously. Only the woman, the men didn't focus on what was said before or after or who spoke. They just came in, did their talk, and focused only on their talk, while the female speakers constantly felt the need to speak about the fact that they are not so good enough, or it might not be so perfect, or they almost had to put themselves down before somebody else had to do the same. So I was quite surprised. I was listening. I said, I wonder why. Why is it that every female speaker had to come in and speak about the speaker before them, and sort of like speak about the fact that they are not worthwhile, so to say, in the face of that person. Now, I was very, very interested to see how the men would do it, and as I said, they did that all. So you find that imposter syndrome presents itself very differently in females. I'm not saying that men don't have it, but it's very different compared to women. So can you explain to us, how do we get over this? How do we overcome this? And why is it that we women are so much more susceptible than men?
I think it boils down to the fact that we are, these days women are coming out of their shells, and we find them, making their mark in business, etc. And stereotypically, we have always taken a back seat. And now, like you explained with your exam or your illustration from the one woman speaker comparing herself to the one before her, we are just more prone to comparing ourselves to other women. Because we want recognition from other women. And if you think about it as well, I read somewhere that women don't dress for themselves, dress for men. They dress for other women, because that's how we compare. That's something that just happens, which was quite interesting. Yeah. So I think because of the gender stereotypes, and because culturally we've always had these societal norms that were expected of us as women, and now we're coming forth. with women, it's just that we have to work twice as hard to longer hours because it's like we're overcompensating. Because, men, it's like we're constantly comparing ourselves to other women and to men. So we work harder, we overcompensate, we push harder. And also, like you said, we find it more difficult to accept praise. It's more uncomfortable for a woman to accept praise than it is for a man. And we just seem to be more prone to not feeling worthy of it. I think it's the way that we've been socialized, and I think it will take lots more generations for us to come out of that. So that's my feeling of where it comes from.
And I think 100% correct, subhanAllah, because when you look at it really saddens me sometimes, because I meet women who are phenomenal. When I say they are amazing, and yet sometimes if you speak to them one-on-one, you get this massive call, and then once they have to, they are with other women or they're in a comparative space, they sort of diminish their own selves, subhanAllah. And I know this is, I did this for many years to myself. I know that I always felt, and yesterday my own siblings were calling me out. They were like, why don't you just accept a compliment? And it's true, right? We all are like that. Okay, so Shameela, it's been absolutely wonderful chatting so far, alhamdulillah. I just want to end up with a beautiful, I think I want to move into a lovely little topic here where you are, mashallah, mabrook, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept, you are in the process of publishing the book yourself, right? Are you excited?
I am very, very excited about this. Absolutely excited, yes. It's been a lifelong dream of mine to be an author. And inshallah, it's going to be coming into fruition within the next couple of days. Alhamdulillah.
I'm so excited for you. I know the feeling. I was listening to one of my interviews when my book came out, and I was stumbling over my words. I was so nervous, but Allah will make it a great success. You will see, inshallah. So I want to ask you, inshallah, why did you find the need to focus on finding purpose in life? What do you think is the reason that it's so important to find purpose?
Okay, so it's something that not just me, but naturally as humans, we have this intrinsic need that we want to find purpose, or there is some innate need that we've been put on this earth for by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we need to complete this, this task that He's given us. And I found myself in the process of figuring out what my purpose was a while ago, and I decided that this is something that I'm sure other people have pondered about and have struggled with. So why not put it into a book so that it will help others? It's because finding purpose is something that can motivate us to give back to communities, for us to motivate to be self-motivated, to improve on ourselves. So that's why I found that this would be like the perfect subject of my book, because it's not something that we speak about in generally, unless you are in the self-improvement, or you are a coach or a therapist or something in that field. Will you go around speaking about, what your purpose is? Have you thought about it? So I thought, what, this is something that's going to help other people, especially with women, because myself especially, we go through certain turbulences in our lives, and it forces us to take stock of how far we've come, and realize that our life is finite. We're not going to be here forever, and alhamdulillah, it's good to leave a legacy. It's good to reach out and help others, or like for me, that is my purpose. So I'm just using it as an example. So I found that what better way than to develop some kind of, almost like I call it like a user manual to life, because it's something that it helps us to self-actualize and to actually find this motivation to go forward, to prosper, and you find a reason to wake up every day because of this purpose that you have. This task that Allah Ta'ala has put you on this earth for, So that is Well, it's a long drawn out explanation, but that's the reason why I
No, but
chose.
subhanAllah, it's beautiful. May Allah subhanAllah accept. The thing is that the long drawn out explanations are the ones that have the value, isn't it?
Alhamdulillah.
the hours and hours of thought and hours of focus, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it that whatever you are doing, may He make it a benefit to man.
Ameen.
So Shameela, it has been absolute pleasure to chat to you, alhamdulillah, and I know you have impacted many of our listeners today. Barakallah feek. Inshallah, we'll chat again soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Listeners, alhamdulillah, we are on Hayatun Tayyiba. Today is Productive Monday.